Hello the internet. My name's Laura and welcome back to my channel. And today I've just turned on the video camera. I haven't really made any kind of a plan except that I'm down here and now filming. So my space is a mess. I've got things everywhere. But I figured I'd just kind of go through some stuff that I've been doing recently and some updates on some plants that have been doing well. Probably also some plants that have been doing poorly. And we're just going to kind of go from there. So the thing that I have right here is kind of, I've seen a couple of people talking about how they take their orchids and then they just kind of like put them in a thing with some water. This one's a little low right now because I haven't topped it off, but like, the orchid just kind of sits on the top, and then the roots go down in here, and there's a couple rocks in the bottom just to, make it look pretty and make it look bottom heavy. But I also saw someone who did it with old plastic jugs. So this is like a plastic jug, and then I took the top of the plastic jug, and I cut that off. Go down in there, thank you. And then stuck the plant in it, and then stuck the top down in there, so it does the same thing as this, where it just kind of sits on top of that, and then down into the water, which is down here. And I did that with that guy. I did that also with this one. And it's been a little while. It seems to be doing all right. Like I said, I think I need to top off the water a little bit. And like this one definitely needs more water than it has. So that's probably one of the things that I'm going to do. I'm not convinced my watering can is even down here, which is probably why I've been watering using this thing recently. So I think basically the idea is that you don't want all of the roots submerged in the water, but you want the bottom of the root submerged in the water. And then that way it's got like air circulation as well as water. And generally this works pretty well for, because this one seems to be doing a lot better, and it seems to have its bottom roots just kind of sitting a little bit in the bottom of the water there. So I might not actually add any more to that one, see if that one keeps doing well. But see if that one that I added a little bit of water to does better. Because, orchids are like really easy to take care of. You just have to like be consistent with them, and I'm just not always that consistent. We got this guy. Dirt everywhere, it's fine. My little thing here. Mostly brandies, like all up in this corner. And then I have a varicosum that still is not really growing roots yet. I put it back in here because it was the only one out of the group that hadn't grown leaves. Hadn't grown roots. And I think it had some, but they look like they've kind of rotted, so I'm not sure why, because it's still fairly, like, it's damp in here. It's not like it's dried out or whatever. Okay, well, I guess we'll just stick that back in there and see if it does anything. I really kind of want to repot these brandies at some point. But for right now, they're doing well in there, and so I ain't gonna touch them. What else do we got? Oh, so I actually have not looked at these in a little while. I have glanced at them. I have watered them. This is one of the little begonias that I had, and it has grown like a lot. It has been doing very well in there. I haven't been watering it very much. Right now it's actually a little bit dry, though I feel like I just watered it. But because it's in my little greenhouse here, um, it doesn't lose its moisture as quickly as some of the other plants, so I don't have to water it quite as often. And then this is my Drag-Eye Glasgow, which has just gotten very tall, and it's flowering up there, as you can see. But yeah, it seems to be very nice and established. Give it a little bit more water. But again, keeping it in the greenhouse keeps it from just... A couple of times that I almost lost this plant was because I just didn't water it forever, and it was still fairly small. It's getting to be a much bigger plant now. And then what do we got over here? My Alocasia Silver Dragon, which is feeling nice and watered, and this little leaf has come out since I got it. So the other leaves, I kind of let it get a little dry, and so it's got some little damages on the end of here, but none of them are dying off, even though I have this new leaf in here. And I guess it's getting enough light because that little leaf is just chilling right there. It does not seem to need to be any taller than that. Oh yeah, that's really wet. Okay. Well, I'm not watering that one for a little while, but it seems to be doing fine. And like I said, getting the light that it needs. Ugh. Over here, how are you doing, darling? Okay, so this, I actually think I'm going to pull this out of here. Actually, let's close that so it keeps some of the... Actually, do you guys all want to go back in here? I probably should go back in here. Turn that so it gets more light on the side. Okay, so this was my Alocasia Black Velvet. And well, the leaves died, but I kept it in there because, with alocasias, as long as the bulb is healthy, you can still do stuff with it. Like, you can still bring it back because the bulb is like that. Okay. So yeah, it's, oh wow, it's even got some little corms in here. I don't think they're called corms. The little, like these are new plants. There. Yeah, they all seem to have, because they're supposed to remain attached to the main plant and then grow, but it seems like that they've just kind of rotted off the little connection point. So it could be that I have watered this entirely too much. We're just going to kind of dig this out because I want to see what we're dealing with here. The roots look fine. I guess there's also the possibility that it's just asleep for the winter. Oh, no, that is rotted. See how easily those just kind of pulled right off of there? That one is good. But some of these roots are rotted, and it's hard to explain how much pressure you should give, but if you're just giving a slight tug, and if the roots just kind of break off like that, then they're rotted. And if you pull on them and they don't, then it's a good root. And it's just something you kind of get for a feel for after a while, where you go in there to mess with a couple of roots and then they just like fall off in your hand and you're like, I didn't even touch it. Yeah. So this guy This guy's still alive for sure, but we're gonna get rid of some of those rotted roots. And I think I'm actually gonna put it in a smaller pot because alocasias tend to like to be a little bit like they don't need a whole bunch of space. They actually like to be root bound. So let me get a actually. Okay, actually that's probably about the size that I want. And this soil is like nice and just a little moist. Like now that I've taken it apart and gotten the rotted roots out of there, I'm just gonna kind of set this back in here. Just set it like this, and then that way, when I do water it, it's not like this huge pot holding onto water. It's just this little guy, and then we're gonna let him just kind of sit there, and we'll see if he starts coming back now that we're starting to get into sunlight, like spring. We're technically in spring now. It's really funny because like my plants are in here, they're on timer lights, and it still shocks me a little bit how some of them are still really affected by what's going on, because there are windows here, so there's outdoor light that's kind of coming in, but it still shocks me a little bit how much they're still affected by that. I have my bearded dragon Celine, and it's been a really warm winter for us for a really long time, and then all of a sudden we got some cold weather, and like she's inside, she's got a timer with the little heat bulb that comes down, and she's got her UVB, and she's inside the house, she's kind of near a window but not like right next to a window, and when it got cold she stopped coming out in the morning. She just stayed in there all night, all day. That's called brumation. It's what bearded dragons do. And I was just like, it just seemed odd to me that, she's inside and doesn't really have much interaction with anything going on outside. And yet she still was like, you know what? It's cold outside. And then the day that it warmed up, like the day that it got back to 60, she climbed out. That morning, before it had even gotten warm, because like it's still fairly cold in the mornings, that day that it got to 60 in the afternoon, she climbed out in the morning and she was like, hey, can I have some food? So kind of interesting. That it just continues to surprise me. I mean, nature knows what it's doing, but it still surprises me. Okay, what else is going on in here? I close that back up, but this is looking really terrible. This is my, oh, okay, it's trying to come back. This is my Sonarilla. I think what happened is I overwatered it, and it was just like, but there's actually some new leaves coming in now on this, oh, those look like they're, okay, those are dead. I feel like I want to just take this off at that node, and then I'm going to stick this. This guy's been doing fine. I mean, it's really leggy, but he's been growing. Still feels really wet. Where's my, yeah. What's that say? Okay, yeah, that's still pretty wet. Okay, so we're not gonna water that anymore. That's just gonna go back in here, and that guy, I'm gonna cut this up and 2 nodes per. I'm gonna put this in my propagation that we looked at earlier, same one, and see if I can't get some more. Can't see if I can't get this to grow back. Because I like that plant when it's doing well. It's very, very pretty, and I just guess I haven't been taking super good care of it recently. And that's why all the little leaves died. So, trash. Okay. I know, I just keep opening and closing this thing. I don't know if it's doing any good. Alright, I got this is one of my philodendron silver swords. I just kind of threw it in here and it's been growing amazingly and wonderfully. And so I'm probably just going to leave it in there and turn it slightly so that its leaves start going the other way. I also have my philodendron varicosum, which I've taken a bunch of cuttings of, and how interesting, has been growing in here, which keeps it from getting underwatered, which is always the problem that I have. Oh, this guy's actually doing really well. I'm really surprised. This is my pink minx. I got this plant a long time ago and had it was great for a really, really long time, and then I had nothing but problems with it. And then it got obviously into the whole powdery mildew incident. And I gave one last ditch effort to taking a stem off of there and planting it, and now it's been surviving. So I'm not exactly sure why, but again, we're gonna leave it in there so that it does well. These guys I actually think I want to bring out. I want to make a larger container of some of these varicosums and start training them. I want to make a moss pole and start training them up. Okay, and what else do we have down here? We have begonia Deja Thornis. I can't believe I remembered that. Begonia Deja Thornis. This plant has always been one of my favorites. It's very lovely. And I'm coming to find that a lot of the begonia species that I have do not do well in my house unless they are inside some sort of humidity retainer. The one exception to that seems to be the begonia breakdance, which is very nice because it's one of my favorite plants. But even that one I've been having some problems with recently. It stays alive, but it only, it grows leaves on the end of the thing, but then everything up until that dies. But then I go to see if it needs water, because, does it need water? And it's still got water in there. And so, and then this is my begonia with Lacucci that did terrible, terrible, terrible until I stuck it in my low greenhouse. And then it's been doing pretty well. Why are you guys all curled up there? There we go. But this I really like this plant. It's really pretty. I probably was throwing it off camera, but these guys just kind of sit in there, and that is their life now. Okay, so we'll close that back up. I'm not opening that anymore. I've got this in the way. I know, look at my wonderful video skills. Okay, what else is going on here? This guy does not seem like he's happy. This was my Sakurai Pink, and I think I might have made it too wet, and then it's just been kind of sitting in there. So I think what I might do is, what's the way that I can necessarily just want to leave it out, but like, yeah, it's like really, really wet. And like, it's Sakurai pink, but the leaves are not supposed to look like that. Those are unhealthy looking leaves. Oh, you know what? I can just stick it in here because the humidity in there is not amazing. But it is more humid than not. So let's go ahead and stick you in here. You can, okay, do not knock over the water. You can sit next to the pink minx. You both have pink in your name, so you can be friends. Okay, so that guy for right now, there. Oh my gosh. Okay. Some of you may remember this guy. This is a begonia of some variety that got very, very leggy, and then I tied it to a pole, and so it's been on that pole, and I haven't actually pulled it out and looked at it in a little while. And of course we've got some dead leaves here. We've got some leaves that are just kind of getting all crunched because there's not a lot of room, you know, where they're not getting a whole bunch of light in their current position. It's just, which I assume, it's not growing super leggy, so I assume that that means it's fairly, okay, that's still wet, so it doesn't mean, I'm assuming it's fairly happy. But as you can see, it is rather large. And, but very bare on this side. So I think I'm going to turn it slightly so it starts getting some more light on that side. Okay. I have not pulled this out in a while. Mostly because it's a hassle. Boop. You guys really need new pots. I know that you do. I know that you need new pots. Yeah. This is my Bloodsport agave, which had mealies, and I actually mostly got rid of them, and then I was looking on it just now, and it looked like it had just a little bit. So I have sprayed it with some, I used all that? I guess I did. I have sprayed it with some bug spray, and hopefully it will continue to kill those off. Need more water? This is part of a plant that my mother gave me years and years ago that I've refused to give up on. Even I have like broken this back and redone it like half a dozen times because it kept having mealybugs. And this most recent time, I broke it back and I broke it back. This time I broke it back all the way such that there were no leaves on it, no roots on it, just, you know, stem. And then I soaked that in isopropyl alcohol and you can go over there, please don't get knocked over. And I grew it back from there. And so far, there's been a couple little mealybug things, at which point I've sprayed it. It seems to be, again, like the Bloodsport, kind of holding steady, which I'm really, really happy about. This plant, it's some sort of mammillaria or something like that. I bought this because it had the little red spikes on it, and I thought that that was really cute. This guy has never given me any trouble, like never. And it's growing, like, you can kind of see the difference here. Like, this is about how big it was, I think, when I bought it. And this is all the growth I've gotten since then. So you can see a little bit of a difference. But for the most part, it just kind of grows. Okay, those are not ready to come off. And it flowers for me every year, like, fairly regular. I'm like, oh, it's about time for it to flower, and then it flowers. And it's just been sitting in this pot. Every once in a while, I throw a little bit of water on it. It doesn't get any fatter. It doesn't get any thinner. It just is, and I love it. And it's just one of my favorite plants. Okay, so now we have gotten this out of the way enough for me to pull these out. We're going to see how this is going. So these are, of course, by doing this, I have taken all of the space that I have to actually put a thing down. These are all that I have of my carnivorous plants. You might remember that I took them upstairs at one point because I thought that that might be better for them. It was not. Some of them have... All right, yeah, this one has completely died off. So we're just going to take that right out of there. That one has slime. That's not just mold, that's slime. I don't want to deal with that. This one has apparently come back from the dead. Tiny little sundew in there. So we're gonna keep that going for that. And this, Venus flytrap of probably just like normal variety is actually still trying to come back. The traps are like non-existent, but there's actually some new growth down way in there. So we're actually going to also let that one continue to live. And then I have my other pingiculas, which are in various shades of still alive. I have not been taking care of them particularly well. So we have this one, which was much bigger than that. It now has a couple of offshoots that are struggling to live. And then this adorable little field of like, I don't know, something over here that is spitting out all kinds of spores. So that's cute. But the plant itself seems to still be alive, at least part of it. I think part of the problem, I don't think it was necessarily the move-in location. I think it was that around that time I had started using the you know, those big containers of water, because those are, like, they very specifically go in and take a lot of the minerals out of that, and so that I thought that that could be good for this, in a way to get a whole bunch of water that didn't have too many minerals in it that these types of plants don't like. And the problem was that I think it had too many minerals that like they didn't like. And so they started declining, and I thought it was because like I had moved them or like I hadn't kept them watered or stuff like that. And I think really what it was they just didn't like that water. And so I've gone back to distilled water, just like straight up distilled water that you buy at the store. The problem with distilled water is actually not the price. The price is not all that bad. The problem with the distilled water is then you create a ton of plastic waste, which, you know, I'm not entirely thrilled about. But at the same time, these plants are actually starting to come back now, and be like plants again, because I've started watering them now with the distilled water. And I think they're much happier with that. So that's just a lesson for me. Part of it, they were also doing fairly well on rainwater. When I was going through the process of catching rainwater and you know, actually putting that into a thing, which it was a little bit of a hassle, which is obviously why I did not keep up with it. But I'm thinking that if I want to keep the plastic from being an issue, the thing that I'm going to need to do is start collecting rainwater again. So that these guys have yeah, because like they're doing so much better now. Like I basically just threw them under there, and I've been like, okay, don't look at them, you know, right? Because they're carnivorous plants. They don't need my help. But like these, I need to actually put this on some actual dirt. But these are doing great. Actually, yeah, right now it's just right now it's really dry. But we pull this up out of here. Okay. We're gonna take this dirt actually. And just shove that on the bottom there. And then set this right on top. Okay, and then water it a little bit just to kind of wet the moss on top. Get that all kind of mixing together. All right. That one will do a lot better. At some point, I'm actually going to have to like pull these out of here. These ones have some nice color on them, actually. You can see that. Like these ones here have some nice purple. And flowering. Let's not forget that. I just poured out water, it's fine. At some point, I'm going to have to actually take those out and get them into their own little individual places. But for right now, I'm just happy that they're doing well again, because like I said, for a long time they were not. And I think I'm finally getting back to the place where they are. And part of that is, number one, keeping them in a place where they don't just dry out all the time. And part of it is using a water that they like. So I can't put that back because now all this plants are there. Okay, other interesting things. Okay, that's right. This guy is definitely getting planted up. He has many, many roots. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. But that was the bit that had broken off of my main plant. And the main plant is also doing very well. It has put on new growth since this happened, and I will show that to you in a moment. Okay, we want that above the ground, but we want all that other stuff below the ground, and then you will be happy. I'll have a little tray for this to sit on and drip through. I guess I'll just hold it here. It definitely needs some water because this dirt is not nearly wet enough. Okay, so. All right, just sit that. Let the dirt settle. Oh, it actually went down a little less than I thought it would. It's not bad. All right. Drippy, drippy, drippy. I put you on there. It'll drip a little bit into that and a little bit not. But okay. So, sorry. Yes. Begonia Griffin doing very well. And then the bottom part that I broke that off of is also growing. Looks like out of only 2 of the parts. Like there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff down here, and it's really only growing. There's like this new growth thing here, and then it's growing off of this bit here. That feels like that can be watered too. Set that there because sometimes I hate those trays, the little ones that are attached, because they so often just overflow. Yep, there it goes. It's overflowing. I'd rather it overflow on here than up on my thing there. It's like welled up. I'm not even sure I can move the camera. It's welled up so that it's like over the edge and the water tension is holding it on there, but it's actually not come over yet. We'll leave that alone. Oh, that's right. I was super excited about this. This is an African violet that I bought, and it did poorly for a really long time, and now look! Yeah, I bought it for those flowers. They're like salmon colored with little purple speckles on them. Aren't they so pretty? I'm apparently not doing a great job of keeping all of the lower leaves alive, and that's very possibly because I just water it on the top, which I know you're technically not supposed to do with African violets, but I do it anyway because otherwise I wouldn't water it. I mean, you know, if you're not going to water it, you might as well water it, and I seem to be doing a good job with it because, you know, it's got a lot of new growth up on the top, and it's flowering. So I'm just gonna, I'm going to do better about trying to bottom water it so that it can, oh, that leaf is broken, so that it can be more happy and I can stop killing all these leaves off. But I'm just so happy about these flowers. They're just so pretty. So anyway, I was very happy about that. I definitely wanted, that was one of the things that I knew I wanted to share with you guys when I did this video. All right, there, look, I'm watering it from the bottom. I'm not even sure you can tell. No, you can see the top. You can tell that I'm watering it from the bottom. I think part of the problem is that this pot is so big. I feel like it needs more water than can fit in the tray that I've got it in. So if I got like a deeper tray or something like that, that I could actually... I did also at one point try a self-watering pot with it. And I didn't like that, and the plant didn't really seem to respond to it super well. So, yeah, I might have to figure. Went over to get some more water, and it occurs to me that might actually work for this. Oh yeah, Oh yeah, no, I like that. That'll be nice and deep. I can put a decent amount of water in there so that it can definitely get all the water it needs, and I don't have to keep like, oh yeah, I can see it going down because it's sucking it in. So that might actually make that guy even more happy, which would be wonderful. Okay, and then I can use this guy for this guy. Tried to propagate some Truby Moonlight, and it did not like that idea very much. It has not done well, so I think I'm gonna throw this in my little propagator too. If it lives, it lives. Truby Moonlight is just so slow growing, it's very annoying. Okay, what else? Oh, that's right, I wanted to check on these because I think they're doing very poorly. Really just not doing anything of interest. These are my tomato seedlings, and if you remember, I planted them a million years ago, and they are like they're there, but they don't have their secondary leaves. And I'm not exactly sure why not, because they're under a grow light. They're fairly close to a grow light, and they're just not being happy. So I'm wondering if it's not just some sort of a watering issue. I mean, they're in humidity. I'm actually going to let those sit in there and see if that sucks up some of the water. And then I also have in there some of the smaller varicosums, which most of them are doing okay. This one seems to not be happy. This one's just got yellowing leaves all over the place. Wonder if I might need to let that one dry out. That one might just be overwatered. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe too much humidity? You know what? I think they can go in here. It just occurred to me. Because these other ones that I had in there are doing great. These ones are not doing as great. So it's very possible that if I put them in here where it's a little bit more, a little less humid, they will dry out more quickly and then also grow more better. I guess we'll just leave that like that for now. Okay, so this video has been going on far longer than I thought it was going to, which is fine. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It did eventually spill over. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like this video, go ahead and like this video. I like doing these update videos because not only does it give you guys updates on what's going on with my plants, but it has me actually look at my plants and not just, you know, come down here and water them very quickly. And then, you know, go away again. But, yeah, so I think these guys, I feel like I want to just go ahead and throw them both into one pot, but I'm not going to do that quite yet. I want to see how they do outside of the humidity for a little while. Get them growing up a little bit better. Okay, but that's going to be it for this video. So, like I said, if you like this video, go ahead and like this video. If you'd like to see more of me just chilling and doing plant stuff. You know, subscribe, stick around, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.